Welcome back to America Right Now. I'm Tom Basile. In our Thin Blue Line segment this week, recent polling has shown consistently that crime is among the top issues of concern for Americans heading into next year's elections. According to Gallup, some 58% of Americans now believe that the justice system isn't tough enough. That's a big jump from 2020. And as much as Democrats claim they have changed their tune when it comes to defame and defund the police, it appears to be far from dead. It is costing lives around the country. Last month, New York Mayor Eric Adams put forth his proposal for a police hiring freeze and a $132 million cut in the police budget in order to make up for money being spent to deal with the city's illegal immigrant population. Adams is trying now to backtrack on many of these cuts. However, it highlights a disturbing trend. Here to discuss, former Milwaukee Sheriff and Newsmax contributor David Clarke. Also with us, the founder and the president of Citizens Behind the Badge, Craig Floyd. Craig, I want to go to you first. You wrote recently about this issue. These proposed cuts in New York would have even reduced cops in schools. This was the mayor's solution. Watch this.
We have to shift around personnel as much as possible. We have to do a real evaluation on where do we have the high need schools. And we're going to be leaning into parents and parent groups to do some volunteerism.
Just volunteerism. It'll be fine. So, Craig, have the war on cops folks really changed their tune?
Unfortunately, no, Tom. We can't overstate the disaster that the defund and defame the police movement has caused this nation. Go back to 2019 before it started. We had the lowest crime rate in recent history. We had more cops on the street than ever before, and cops were being honored and supported by their communities and by their elected leaders. And then fast forward to May 25th, 2020, when a bad cop was caught doing bad things and George Floyd died. Mm-hmm. Overnight, cops were hated by this country, and elected leaders reacted in a knee-jerk fashion. They cut billions of dollars from the police budgets in our nation, and the result was more crime, which should have been expected, fewer officers serving, and today we have a demonized and a demoralized police force in this country, all right? Yeah. They're frustrated. Number one, they have to work harder than ever because they have fewer cops on the street. They're working overtime, lower pay, and they're watching the people they've arrested one day out on the streets the next day because of the no-cash liberal bail policies that have been instituted by cities around this country.
Yeah, and
these elected leaders should have woken up and realized the harm that they were causing, and yet in Minneapolis, New York City, we're seeing continued defunding of the police.
New York isn't alone, Sheriff. You know, it was essentially the birthplace of the defund the police movement. Minneapolis, the city council just voted 8-5 against the mayor's tentative agreement with the police union that would have provided some, and they were small retention bonuses and small hiring incentives. And it was just a few $1,000s per cop just to try to do something. And the politicians on the city council said no. They still don't understand that they've got a problem.
No, they don't. Look, this is a mess, and it's not easily, excuse me, it's not easily rectified. New York City, there's about 8 million people that live there. They have 29,000 cops. In 2016, they had 36,000 cops, so do the math. You have a high, densely populated area, not just New York, but you can go to LA, Milwaukee, St. Louis, all of these cities that are spiraling out of control, and they simply don't have the cops. But you know what? They haven't made the job attractive enough either. This is from Bloomberg News quickly. Bloomberg News says the UPS drivers who just recently settled a contract, by the end of the contract, will make $102,000 a year plus $50,000 in benefit. You know what a cop makes? The average salary for a cop in the United States, $61,000. What would you rather do in this climate? I never thought I'd say this. I'd rather be a UPS driver than a police officer.
Yeah, you know, Craig, the New York City Police Department continuing to see a massive wave of retirements and departures, shrinking the force to its smallest in decades. So far this year, 2,500 departures, over 1,000 took early retirement. there's been a 43% increase in departures over the 2018 number. But this is not, it's not exclusive to New York. And if we could put up the scroll of the crisis level that we have seen, that we're seeing in these departments all across the country, I want to ask you about the support from the public, because the public's changed its tune. If you look at the recent Harris poll, Harvard poll, cops and the military, by far and away the most respected people in our communities, in our country. You take a look at that, very favorable ratings, but there is still this disconnect with the politicians. Why don't the politicians understand that they need to support our police?
Well, I'm not sure what motivates people in New York City and Minneapolis to defund their police and not provide financial incentives when we need more police officers on the street. It's been proven that more cops save more lives. The Police Executive Research Forum recently surveyed their membership and found that we've lost about 5% of the overall number of police officers in this country. That's 40,000 fewer police officers today than we had in 2019. And we know that for every 10 to 15 cops on the street, an innocent life is saved. So we've lost hundreds of innocent lives because of this defunding. I don't know what we can say to our elected leaders. I know in this United States Senate, we're working with J.D. Vance, the senator from Ohio. We've got a resolution, S-Res 218, which would support police and condemn this defunding and defaming of police. And we're trying to get every state legislature in this country to pass a similar resolution. Our police officers need to hear from their elected leaders that we support them. They know they have the support of the community. They now need it from our elected leaders.
Sheriff, last word to you, 15 seconds on the crisis of police, the shortage of police officers. Real quick.
Well, it's all lip service. Look, the message being sent by the elected leaders to the citizens of their communities, you're on your own. We're not going to have more police. We're not going to properly, pay them and make the conditions worthwhile doing the job. So you're on your own. And you know what? People are starting to take the law into their own hands.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Sheriff David Clarke and Craig Floyd from Citizens Behind the Badge. Thank you both so very much.
Thank you.